Is 100% recovery from a stroke possible? Let's get into it. What is recovery? We have to answer this question first before answering if 100% recovery is possible. If you watched my video on how long stroke recovery is, you know the answer to this. But if you haven't seen it or you're new here, let's dig in a little deeper. Recovery means different things to different people. For some, it might mean that you're able to do most things independently, while for others, it might mean that you're 100% back to your pre-stroke self. When people ask me, can I or my family member completely or 100% recover from a stroke, this is usually what they mean. And this is what we're going to hit hard today. 100%. There's no statistic, progress trajectory, movement return, or any other area that can predict whether someone will recover 100% from a stroke or not. But let me tell you what I do know. I know that some stroke survivors have said that they feel back to 100% of their pre-stroke selves. I know some that say physically they have recovered 100% but still deal with mental health, cognitive, speech, or sensory issues. I know some who say the complete opposite, that they are mentally and cognitively exactly the same as they were before the stroke, but they're still dealing with physical issues. And of course, there are some survivors who may even be years out that continue to deal with all aspects of recovery. What does this mean for 100% recovery? It means that it's not out of reach, but also that the likelihood is low. And I say this not to take away hope or optimism, but rather to provide hope in the context of realism. Because I think much of the time when someone asks, will I recover 100%? What they're partially asking is, will I still be able to live a meaningful life? And the short answer to that second question is definitively yes. But this also has a lot to do with someone's mindset and identity after a stroke, which can change pretty significantly. The new you. While I know that some people hate this term, for others it's a way to establish a new identity. After a stroke, you're likely not quite the same person that you were before your stroke. And I don't mean due to physical, mental, cognitive, or speech changes. I mean that you yourself have been through a medical emergency. You have experienced a life-changing event. Your outlook and your identity are changed by this, and it's not something that you can just shut off. It becomes a part of you. Most trauma or life-altering events do this to us, and we carry them with us for the rest of our lives. But this doesn't mean that we are defeated. So first, you need to know that you are not alone. It's one of the reasons I'm such a huge proponent of getting involved in stroke survivor communities. There is no one else who understands what you've been through like another stroke survivor. Even myself, someone who has embedded herself within stroke survivor communities and made a real point to listen to survivors' experiences, can't truly understand what you have been through, even though I try my best. Second, you also need to know that the new you isn't necessarily a bad thing. It means that you've responded, changed, and evolved based on this new life-altering experience. Sometimes we walk through the fire and only think of ourselves as burned, when rather we're more like a phoenix, and out of our ashes comes something new. Shift. So even though you may not be 100% recovered, can you think in terms of what it means to be on the other side of this situation? What does it mean to be able to live a happy and meaningful life now, perhaps even in the context of disability or other issues that you still experience? How can you define that for yourself? I've heard from a lot of stroke survivors that say to embrace your new self, which is something I recognize is much easier said than done, but that your new self, while maybe not 100% recovered, is still beautiful, capable, and deserving of love. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Before you go, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. And feel free to leave me a comment. What does 100% stroke recovery mean to you? And how have you found healthy ways to move forward in your own journey? As always, I'm going to be leaving a link down in the description if you'd like to sign up for the email list, which gets you a free stroke recovery email every week, as well as a free copy of my ebook, The Stroke Recovery Pocket Guide. And if you find value in what we do here at Post Stroke, please consider gifting us, either by giving us a super thanks by clicking in the YouTube bar below, by giving us a one-time donation via PayPal, or by becoming a Patreon member, where in exchange for a monthly donation, you get access to cool perks like social media shoutouts, behind the scenes footage, and even YouTube shoutouts, of which I have 2 today. Thank you so much, Heather G. and Lee S., for continuing to contribute and support us at the Empowerer level. We cannot do what we do without you. And thank you to all of our other Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.